So we're here to proclaim and to declare in this moment a new name of God for world religion. And it's only through the articulation of a world religion, which is the generative ground of a shared grammar of value, that we can actually respond to the meta crisis. And every infrastructure move we make will break down, and every social structure move we make will break down, unless we actually address the source code itself, which is the story of value in which we live. It's the name of God, which we call out, which lives in us and holds us in the same moment. So we're here, right, friends? We're here to declare, to call out the name of God, and to call out the name of God as the infinite intimate. Every religion has a unique self. So that's a very big deal. Every religion has a unique self. And the unique self of religion is the intimate quality of meaning and meeting between the infinite and the finite that is particular to that religion. And that unique quality of intimacy is irreducible and utterly needed in the great unique self symphony of spirit. And the rituals of a religion are not the surface structures of a religion, but rather the unique immanent expressions of that religion's eros, right? Erotic, intimate embrace of infinite divinity. Okay, that's a very big deal. So let's see if we can get this, because we're laying down the tracks now. Does everyone get how important this is? This is huge, right? We're laying down essential tracks here, right? And the perennial philosophy didn't work because it didn't get this, right, friends? Right, dear friends, right? It didn't get this. The perennial philosophy said, you don't need the religions anymore. It said that, you need perhaps the esoteric core of each religion that knows these 7 principles that I just articulated. And I just articulated a vision of, right, a particular summation, right, of the perennial philosophy. And I drew part of it from Huxley's minimum working hypothesis, 1 or 2 pieces from integral thought, but really it's much broader. It's neither integral thought nor Huxley, right? It's actually, right, a new synergy and in a new list of 7 that I've never been privileged to share before. So I'm delighted to share it, right? Those 7, right, those are the 7, right? When you integrate, right, the best understandings perennially, right, of the great traditions, you get to those 7. So that's a contemporary recasting, right, of perennial philosophy, and yet it's insufficient. And there was a version of it in the 16th century and a version of it in the 20th century, right? Slightly different, but basically it's insufficient. It's insufficient because what perennial philosophy claimed, and this exists in the writings of almost every great perennialist, from Fritz of Schuhan, right, to Huxley, right, to 1,000 other writers. What they basically thought was that the rituals of religion were surface structures. And this is a core feature, for example, of integral thought, integral philosophy's thought, right? It's repeated again and again throughout that important and wonderful corpus of thought, right? But this is a mistake, right? It says that the rituals of a religion are, for the most part, are almost entirely surface structures. You can let go of the rituals of the religion, and you need to embrace their esoteric core, which is this realization of emptiness, right? The emptiness meaning the shunyata, the ground of being, the living ground of being, which is our true self that lives underneath our story. So the stories, the rituals that emerge from the stories, the particular stories of the great religions, those are nonsense, right? They're nonsense, really, right? And we call them surface structures, which is a nicer way to say nonsense. But that's exactly not true. Of course, there's some dimensions, right, of every religion that are purely historical. And there's some dimensions of every religion that are mediated through a broken historical prism, which is the best that history has at that time. For example, an ethnocentric prism, in which the realization of spirit is mediated through an ethnocentric prism, and it comes out with something like we're the chosen people, right? And every religion had its version of we're the chosen people. So clearly there are broken mediating prisms, right, that generate belief structures in a religion that are limiting, right, and broken, and from a larger perspective, even corrupt. Yes, that's true. Absolutely true. And we need to recognize that. And yes, it's true that there are some dimensions of a religion that are purely surface structure and that are nonsense and that are purely local, historical, sociocentric, right, rooted in a particular age and a particular moment in history. But that's not the core of a religion. The core of a great religion is a particular movement of music. It's a particular quality of intimacy. It's a particular bridge between the infinite and the intimate. It's a particular instrument in the unique self symphony of spirit. So just like an individual has not only a separate self, which is their nonsense story, their surface structure story, an individual has a true self, meaning they're one with the field of consciousness, one with the field of desire and consciousness. That's true self. And that's what perennial philosophy pointed to in each religion. But an individual also has what we've called 1,000 times together, right? A unique self. Right? An individual has a unique self, and a unique self is the unique expression of infinity, the unique expression of infinity intimately configured in me. It's she. It's the infinite intimate. That's the name I want to offer as part of this new world religion. The name of God is the infinite intimate. Names of God are very important. The new name of God that integrates the names of God from all the great traditions, the new name of God is the infinite intimate. Remember what we always say, the God you don't believe in doesn't exist. God is either too infinite, but it becomes an infinity of indifference, or God is too concretized, too intimate, and it becomes an intimacy of impotence, right? So in history, we've moved between names of God that actually don't validate our inner knowing about the nature of reality and don't validate the deepest realizations about reality in an integrated synergistic form. We've got descriptions of the divine which are non-personal, which don't actually reach or feel our lives or the depth of our humanity or the depth of love and kindness and goodness. So it's an infinity, but it's an abstract infinity. It's an infinity of indifference. Or we have kind of concretized expressions, right, of the divine that, live in the mountain right next to us and that are our local tribal gods that are, concerned with us, but are not potent. They're not omnipotent. They're not concerned and omniconsiderate for all of reality. They're close to us, but they can't do the God work, right? They're not potent, and so there's an intimacy of impotence. When I say they, I mean the God force, right? The field of divinity. The field of divinity is infinite, beyond, right, any kind of personhood as we understand personhood, and yet the field of divinity is intimate, more intimate than any personhood we've ever experienced, and any personhood that we've ever experienced, every personhood that we've ever experienced, right? Can you feel this? Any personhood that we've ever experienced participates in that field of the infinity of intimacy, which is the nature of the divine. So we're here to proclaim and to declare in this moment a new name of God for world religion. And it's only through the articulation of a world religion, which is the generative ground of a shared grammar of value, that we can actually respond to the meta crisis. And every infrastructure move we make will break down, and every social structure move we make will break down, unless we actually address the source code itself, which is the story of value in which we live. It's the name of God, which we call out, which lives in us and holds us in the same moment. So we're here, right, friends? We're here to declare, to call out the name of God. And to call out the name of God as the infinite intimate. And that means that every human being who's an irreducibly unique incarnation of the infinite intimate, every human being who's an infinitely unique incarnation, who's a configuration of intimacy and desire that never was, is, or will be ever again, every human being participates in the name of God. And that actually, there's a reason why your name is your name. And sometimes we even take on a new name. Because I'm taking on a new name because I'm realizing that my name participates in the divine name. And the divine name is the sum total, past, present, and future of every name, of every human and every being that ever was, is, or will be, is together the divine name. And then that divine name holds, transcends, and includes, synergizes in a larger whole, all of that humanity and all of that being and all of that becoming. And so every human being's unique self is the name of God, which is why in moments of orgasm, which is or mugzam in the original Hebrew, right? The extreme light, when I can see clearly, right? You can see clearly now. And I look at my beloved and I say, yes. And I call her name or I call his name. Then I scream out in every language, oh God. Why? Because in that moment of intensified light, and orgasm in original Hebrew alludes to the word or mugzam, intensified light. In that moment of intensified illumination, I realized that your name, your unique self, your name which is expressed, incarnate as your unique self, actually personifies, participates in the name of God. And that's true as well of the unique self of every religion. The unique self of every religion is an expression of the name of God. Allah Akbar. Yes, that's true. Adonai hu Elohim. Atman is Brahman. El, Christ. Christ is our Lord. Right? The Great Spirit. Right? Each one of these names of God, Mat, Geist, or the implicate order, right? All names of God. Each name of God is true. Each religion actually is not lost in some kind of demented, pre-modern, infantilized primitivity, right? As so many modern and postmodern scholars would have us believe. But actually, the core of every religion isn't just its realization of emptiness. It's its intimate play. It's the intimate structure of ritual and practice. And unless we realize that and honor that, we'll never be able to create a world religion. A world religion that doesn't recognize the intimate, infinite beauty of the unique self, right, of every religion, and then invite those religions to, as themselves, in their uniquely configured pattern of the infinite intimate, to participate and play their instruments in the Unique Self Symphony. And if that doesn't happen, there's no world religion, there's no Unique Self Symphony, there's no moving beyond division. There's no moving beyond the intense divisiveness. The Secretary General of the UN just gave a fantastic speech in which he said, we've lost the capacity for collective action, both in our official bodies and in our extra officio bodies like the G20. He said that actually geopolitical divides, what we call here in One Mountain, we call it rivalrous conflict governed by win-lose metrics. He called it geopolitical divides, prevent collective action. We've been saying that here for a decade, that actually if I don't have global coordination, I can't actually address global challenges. And since every existential risk is a global challenge, I need global coordination. But we've said that you can't have global coordination unless you have global coherence. And you can't have global coherence unless you have global resonance. And resonance is resonance between notes of music, unique, intimate notes in the Unique Self Symphony. And I can't have global resonance unless I have a global intimacy. And I can't have global intimacy unless I have a shared story of value. But now here's the thing, we're going to add something to this. But a shared story of value is not one which homogenizes all differences. It's not one only which realizes that which unites us is greater than that which divides us. That's just the first part of the story. That's true. There's a shared story of value. There's a universal grammar of value. But in that universal grammar of value, there are individual unique chapters and whole books, right, that are actually the unique expression of the infinite intimate in a particular religion, in a particular way, in a particular path, which is holding a name of God. Right? Each unique self of every religion is a name of God, like the unique self of every being is a name of God. And it's only when those names are spelled together that we create a grammar of value in which we're all part of the same seamless code of the universe, but the seamless code of the universe is seamless but not featureless, and its unique features are the irreducible, gorgeous, infinitely individuated expression of the fractal pattern of the divine, uniquely expressed in the infinite, intimate, configured of every and as and in and as every particular religion. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. It's like, wow. It's like, wow. Right? We just evolved the source code. Does everyone get that? We just evolved the source code right now. It just happened right here. Right? So it's not that the religions are just surface structures. Right? And we need the depth structures. No. Every religion has its dharma, which is unique, and it has its yoga, which is unique. Every religion has its Torah, its dharma, and its mitzvah, its practice. Every religion has its first principles and first values, and every religion has its first practices. So there are first principles and first values on the one hand, and there are first practices on the other hand. And this is the reason we made a decision, right, to actually evolve the name of the center, right? And we have to evolve. Our name has to always get richer and deeper. We don't want to stay ossified in our original name. We want to be loyal to our original name and then grow. So we began, right, in 2009 as the Center for World Spirituality. And then we wanted to include wisdom. Right, and spirituality seemed too narrow for us, and we wanted to include, right, the great integral map, so we called it, the Center for Integral Wisdom. And I founded the center together with Sally Kempton and Ken Wilber. We called it the Center for Integral Wisdom, and now we're evolving it, right, transcending and including and transcending, and we're actually renaming the center as the Center for World Philosophy and Religion, which includes, right, all of integral wisdom and all of world spirituality, but we need religion back on the table. We can't just say spirituality. We need the binding character of religion. We can't just, when I hear that, people say, wow, we're making up new rituals, right? Someone was just at the house recently, wow, I'm making up all these fantastic new rituals. That's beautiful. Beautiful, but it doesn't quite get you there, right? New ritual comes from the depth of a lineage. And that lineage has attainment. That lineage has realization. And that lineage has, as Rupert Sheldrake called it, a morphic resonance with everyone who's ever fulfilled that ritual and poured their unique realization into that ritual. But that ritual is sourced in the most subtle and speculative mind hearts. So a ritual needs the crucible of realization. A ritual needs the crucible of attainment. And so whenever we create a new ritual, right, that's not just this kind of, modern, liberal Protestant or New Age, or New Age Buddhist or whatever it is, Jewish practice. Ritual has to come out of the depth of our attainment. You have to hear she whispering in your heart mind before you create a new ritual. We have to create a new ritual carefully. And that new ritual has to be that which binds us. A new ritual can't be, hey, I'm going to do it today. I don't really feel up to it. I guess I'm not going to do it for a few weeks. No. A new ritual, right? You lay your life down for it, right? It creates you, it molds you, it forms you, even as you form it. And so we need a shared language, a shared grammar of value. We also need shared rituals, right? We need shared universal rituals that bind us, right, in a global intimacy, because the root, right, of existential and catastrophic risk is not simply rivalrous conflict governed by one of those metrics. That then generates complicated and fragile systems. That's part one. But the underlying root, which generates both of those two generator functions of existential risk, the underlying is global intimacy disorder. And global intimacy disorder is rooted in no shared story of value. And a shared story of value needs to include value and practice, dharma and yoga, realization and ritual, Torah and mitzvah, right? First principle and first practice. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. I can think of no more noble task. I can think of no more daunting task